Hey, how's it going? So, oops. Today, I want to talk about Saturn. Hold on, as soon as I get my stuff together here. So, the reason why is because, well, I mean, it's affecting everybody and everything right now. Because it's affecting all signs, for one thing, and for another, I guess, like the tariff trade war and the effects of that on, like, almost the whole planet have been not great. A lot of people are experiencing a lot of hardship and heartache because of it, so that's, I don't know, unpleasant. But, I have had quite the week, quite the day today even, and one thing I'm really doing my best to do is stay in that high vibration that is advised by just about every spiritual advisor out there, and it makes sense because it would be too easy right now to sink into doom and gloom. I mean, even if your life is going okay, just the world around you is unsettled, kind of chaotic, mean. And so it's good to remember that that's not all there is. So I broke up with someone that I was talking to for 4 years, and I did it because after all of that time, some things just were never right for me. There was an imbalance in some ways. Like, the other person has a lot going on, a whole lot more than I do. And so, of course I accounted for that unavailability. Like, I didn't think they were cheating or anything like that at all. But the longer things went on, like, things were not changing, and then I had, like, objections, and I would voice them, and it's something that I really didn't do much in life, and I always regretted it because I spent a lot of time beating around the bush, which gives people the opportunity to decide to not understand what you're not really saying when they clearly can and do, they just choose not to. And then because I was too, like, milquetoast to say just what was on my mind and just say it, I allowed a lot of people to back out of things, and then that does not feel good. So that was a hard habit to break. And I guess I have problems with tuning still. Like, if I just say what's on my mind, it comes off sometimes wrong with people, or it doesn't come off the way I intend it, that's for sure. And I feel like I don't get listened to the same way other people do. Like, they have more authority to them, and people just pay more attention or something. So I spend a lot of time feeling kind of frustrated by that. Like, because the stuff that I say, it has sense to it, like, a lot of things I say, like, later become something that they're like, oh, didn't you say this before? Like, oh, wow, yeah. But, so frustration builds up, and, I wasn't, like, angry, like, oh, death to you, or anything like that at all. It was just that I couldn't keep going in the situation. And we had, like, a verbal contract, so to speak, and we made, like, an oath to each other, and I broke both of those. And I didn't really realize, like, why stuff was happening, because sort of something that had been happening longer than I became aware of it. I became aware of it kind of at the same time as I decided to make that change. And it's just like a technological intrusion, but it's into my phone, and it's very personal, and it's very adversarial. Like, I've been playing, I'm going to change that password before you do tag with this person, and then they do something that I can't get my way around. But I have been figuring out, so it's not all bad. I mean, I am learning some of this stuff finally. It's a terrible way to get there, but I guess you take what you get, right? And so the thing that happened today that I was just like, this is unbelievable, but I went to a store, new store that everybody was all excited to go to, and it's very inexpensive. And they had a sign that said what type of tender they received. And I misunderstood a card that I was told that is a debit card is not one that they accept. So I said, you got to make a distinction on that, because we're told that this is a debit card. And then to come into here and have to leave all of my groceries because I didn't have enough because you don't take this card is kind of a problem. But they had already taken my other card, and I was like, well, you have to, they're like, we have to give you your money back. And I'm like, okay. So I waited around for them to do stuff, and then when I realized that the two people, like the checker and the manager, were no longer talking about my issue, I said, are you finished with me then? Can I go? Because the person that brought me there was a caregiver that is paid by the state, and she had to be somewhere else because our time was up. Like, she needed to take me back home, and I couldn't do really anything. Like, I had just had to go. Like, we barely waited to be okayed. Like, yes, we're done fixing this. And I asked him, can I go? Am I done here? Is my money back on my card? Money's back on the card. You sure? Sure, that money's on the card. You're good to go. And are you sure you don't need me for anything else? Yes. So I can just go. You don't need me for anything else. And he's like, you're good to go. Money's on the card. So we leave, and I get back home. I'm like frustrated. So like, because I get to go shopping once a month because I get paid once a month. And I just try to get all of the stuff, and I had to leave a whole cart full of groceries. So I didn't get anything. And if you only shop once a month, by the end of the month, like, all of the fresh stuff is gone. So I had to go out again, and I needed cat food. So I had to go to the store that's close, but I can't carry much home. And it's not as inexpensive as the other places. Like, I try to stay away from it. So I go in there, and the checker at this check stand asks me how I'm doing, and I say, great, and I was being kind of sarcastic, and then I had like a big involuntary sob come out, because life is stressful right now. But I just kind of collected myself and swallowed it, and I said, great, just fine day today, great day, how are you? And I just, instead of launching into a litany of, oh, this happened and that happened, or being angry, which really no one has any use for. And it doesn't do you any good either, as I'm getting to. I think because I did neither of those things on the negative column, and just kind of, change the focus from my problem to, like, hey, how are you doing? Which he said, fine, but he looked at me like, I don't know if you are. And I am and I'm not, I guess it depends on the particular present that we happen to be in. But, so I go to put my Snap card in to pay for my purchases, and he says, you don't have enough, and tells me I have $135 less than should be on there. And I was like, you're what now? So I was like, wow, that is great. And then I told this guy, this checker, what had happened with it at the other store. And I think because he saw what happened when he asked me how I was doing, he believed me. Like, he didn't think I was trying to snow him, which I wasn't. And so I pull out the card that didn't work at the other place, that did work at Safeway and did have money on it, and I ran it through the slider and put it back in my wallet. And he turns the thing around and he says, I don't know what's wrong with this thing today, and starts poking some buttons, and then pulls out his wallet and one of his own cards and paid for my transaction. And I was like, wow. I almost had to cry again. But I pulled myself together again, and I just feel like it really, that would not have happened if I would have gone whiny sad or crappy mad. So I just wanted to share that because I feel like I can't be the only one going through stuff because, like I said, Saturn's affecting everyone. And the reason why I know about that is because I watched a video by the astrologer Andrè, which I'm going to link, and he's talking in the video about Orange Man. That would be Trump. He does wear a tanner or something that does make his skin look orange, but it was beyond that, because in astrology there's like a color wheel that corresponds with each sign, and he talks about how the shades are affecting like the current like planetary positioning, excuse me. And well, I mean, color, sound, light, all of those things have an effect on us. And so he goes into a like really interesting explanation about it. What's alarming to me about the whole Saturn thing and Trump, like, he's a Gemini, but his moon is Saturn, and I am a Sagittarius, but my moon is also Sagittarius. And so we're both going through some stuff with Saturn because of those placements. You know, mine is not great. I think I will be able to go back to the place and recover my funds, because when I called, it was after 5 p.m. on a Saturday, and the person I spoke to said, the manager's not here. And then when I told her what happened, she said, do you have a receipt? And I said, well, I don't think they gave me one, because I didn't have one anywhere, and I don't remember him giving one. So she says, well, how are we supposed to know what you paid for without a receipt? And then she hung up, and I was like, or no, sorry, she didn't hang up first. She was on there long enough for me to say, oh, okay, I guess I'll just lose everything, thanks. And I just hung up, because why? Sometimes there's no point in chasing your tail. And that was frustrating, that whole experience. But like I said, I think I should be able to go back there when the manager is there during the daytime, during the week, because I don't know that I need a record for the transaction since they voided the sale. I think all of that is there. And they should be able to tell like what they did from their end. And the checker, they should be able to find who the checker was, because I know what day and time it took place, and I will be able to tell them which check stand. So I actually feel pretty optimistic about getting my over $100 back. That's kind of crucial. So I just wanted to share that, and then I wanted to share a couple of things that sort of were uplifting in the midst of like my personal stuff that's going down, but also, like I said, like everyone's being affected by like bad economy and just various things that are sort of hitting the collective, you know? And so it's kind of like, it's good to look for like little happy things to kind of keep you afloat, to keep your vibration high, so that when you, for instance, meet with a chain reaction of caca events, you can have like the wherewithal to not fall apart, because it's not a good time to do it, you know, like you need your wits about you, and then it kind of works against you too, like I was saying. So definitely like look for and pick up on those synchronicities, because they are there to like make you keep your hope and be optimistic. And so the day after I did the breakup, I was sitting out on my deck. I was still upset. I'm upset now. I'm not as leaky about the eyes at the moment, but you know, every once in a while, a wave of awareness of the sadness will hit me, or else I'll feel like him feeling bad about it. And we had a connection like that. Like, apparently we still do. So, I was sitting out there just trying to make myself feel better, just trying to, like, go blank and just be, like, you know, boneless and watery and have no real effect on anything, you know, just be as neutral as I could possibly be. And some white butterflies flew by, 2 of them. But they flew by and they circled back, and it was like they were kind of like circling me. Like they kept coming really close and hovering. And I was like, oh, so cool. And then they did a big circle, and 2 of them flew by and bonked me right in the forehead with their bodies. And I was like, oh my gosh, thanks. That was cool. So I looked up the spiritual significance of white butterflies, and one of the meanings was new beginnings. And I thought, well, that's appropriate. And there were more. And so if you would like to know that, you certainly have a search bar available to you. You can just look up the spiritual significance of white butterflies too. I'll go on. So then yesterday I'm sitting inside the doorway that leads to the same deck, and inside the house, when it's spring and summer and the doors and windows are open, I have a saucepan of water with cloves in it, because it repels the flying insects, and it's not rayed, so it doesn't smell horrible to us, and it doesn't just like horribly death kill them right in front of you. It just makes them go, I don't want to be here. Like, I sit in that doorway, and flies and bees and the wasps and everybody's like, what's happening in there? Oh, nope. And they just do a big U-turn and leave. So, anyway, I'm sitting there in the doorway, again, just feeling kind of low and not wanting to move into that state of mind. And I'm sitting there, and a white butterfly just comes in the house. And usually they do that. They come and they go, oh, nope, and they U-turn right back out. This one came in, went around my head in, like, circles, and then went over here. Like, I have a white pyramid hanging in my living room, like where I was sitting, and it went in circles around that, and then it went behind me, and I was like, where are you going? You're going more into the clove smell. That's, like, I was worried about it. And it was gone for a little while. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go over there and pick up a butterfly off the floor, lifeless. And that made me sad, and I was like, I'm just going to finish what I'm doing here, and then I will go take care of that. And before, like a couple of minutes later, the butterfly came back from behind me. I don't know where it was and what it was doing, but it came back, and then it was doing like this dive bomby thing, like an airplane dive bomb, like spinning and flapping. And I was like, holy shit, it's dying. But then it flew normal and flew to a different place and started spinning again. I was like, okay. And I have like curtains and blinds, so I just sort of whipped everything open wider, and it went back out, and I was like, whew, at least I didn't kill it. But it was sort of like uplifting. That is like, it came in there to, you know, greet me. It made me feel better, so I do appreciate that. And I feel like when things like that happen, it's worth paying attention to. Like, it kind of happened to, like, I think it came to make me feel better, and it worked. So I did pull some little cards, some of the wine core cards. Actually, they're not called wine core. They're called, I hate the title. And so, wine core. But anyway, first card is, it's better than sitting around doing nothing. Meditate. It's, as much as I talk about being blank and, whatever, when it comes to meditating, you can meditate on something, you can do it with a purpose, but you can also just sit there and be open to free-floating information, kind of. And I guess that's true of every previous thing I said, but yeah. So, this one says, get your quick fix. Addicted to inner peace. I feel like that's so appropriate because I'm like running to the door, to the dark, to the meditation music so much. And I'm fortunate that I can pretty much at will just shut down my life and, go full hermit, close everything up and be in the dark except for my, like, salt lamp and my candles and stuff, like, have my atmosphere, Tell that little douchebag voice to pipe down. Silence your inner critic. So, yeah, that's the thing about, like, feeling sad for yourself and feeling doom and gloom encroaching upon you. And it's like, these things happen in our lives. It just feels like it's all happening at once to all of us. And the past week has been like an encapsulation of that for some reason. But the best thing to do is not freak out and go angry or negative or sad, because that's just like having a ball and chain slowing you down when really, in terms of the whole, like, predestined blueprint life thing, this is like the Wagyu, of the experience. It is the 5 stars, the Michelin. It's the high echelon of what you want of experience, because you get, like, the full spectrum. You get happy, sad, angry, confused, frustrated. Like, you get the whole gamut. Fuck yeah. Dance in the storm. Sure. I have no argument with that. Have you ever done that? I mean, I don't know about the dancing, but have you ever just, like, gone out in the rain, like, when it's happening, just because it's happening? Like, it feels great, Right when I first moved to where I am, it rained a lot more than it does now, but in the summertime it would shower day and night, and so I would often go with I would be at my friend's house, and she had kids, and sometimes she'd have, like, roommates and stuff, but a lot of times the roommates would be out in the evenings doing, like, their jobs, or somebody was in a band, or they were going to see some nightclub thing, and they wouldn't be home, and so we'd wait for the kids to go down for the night, and then we'd take a midnight walk, and then sometimes we'd be hit with rain showers. And actually, neither of us are from, like, where we are now, and so it was, like, novel, to go out and take a walk in the short shower, It's a great feeling. Anyway, anything else? Well, here's a funny thing. So, one of the contracts that I talked about breaking with my recent breakup was that we made, like, a personal oath to one another, and I broke that oath and another one, like a sort of contract between us. But those can be amended. I'm not saying that it's forever over, although I'm sure I really pissed him off. This works both ways. The thing about it is that 10 years ago, I briefly met this person, and then 10 years goes by, and I meet them again, and we have a more involved relationship. So I don't know if I'm going to be around for another 10-year reunion. I hope in the meantime, like, we can kind of fix things. I'm willing, but I think we just both need some time to reassess the whole situation, and or just plain assess, like, what caused this to happen this way. And you remember things, and things that you're like, oh, I regret that, but really, like, don't even waste your energy. Like, don't sweat that. Chalk it up to something you got out of it. Regret is not helpful. It's not productive. It's not high vibration, that's for sure. So, I mean, like, in the store with the guy, it just seemed like the way to go, to gulp down that sob and just move right past it. And it ended up working out for me. I don't know if you heard that part, but that was amazing. So, I just wanted to share that with you so that you whatever you may be feeling, I just hope that I give a little reason to feel optimism and to look out for it, because it's there. You just kind of gotta pull yourself out of the dumps every once in a while. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you and good night.